I'm sure you guys remember my little baby pearl stingray that's down here in my holding tank. And you guys will also remember the 375-gallon rainbow fish tank. That rainbow fish tank and the pearl stingray are about to cross paths unexpectedly. You see, the pearl's supposed to go in the 2,000-gallon aquarium with the other freshwater stingrays. But she's just too small to go in the 2,000-gallon aquarium. You see, she could be outcompeted for food with the other larger rays, or they simply just might kill her. She might look big in here, but compared to the other guys, she's just a tiny baby, maybe being about 4 inches across, where the other ones are about double that. Don't make fun of her fat belly, she's sensitive about it. So even though she's growing and doing really well, she's just not growing fast enough. You see, I want to be able to enjoy her out in the gallery, and I want you guys to as well. And currently she's the only fish down here in this holding tank inside of my house, and we just don't come in here to film her a lot, or we just don't see her and I don't get to interact with her as much. And it's just not fair to her. I want her to enjoy the gallery just as much as the rest of the fish out there. And that's just not fair, is it? So she just can't go in the 2,000-gallon aquarium just yet, but that doesn't mean we can't bring her out here somewhere. Unfortunately, there's no more room to build more tanks yet. I'm working on it. But we do have an entire racking system. We could potentially put her in one of these tanks, couldn't we? Like, why not put her in here with these Malawi cichlids, right? Well, they're probably going to bite her eyes out thinking it's food hidden in the sand or something. Plus, there's not really a lot of space down there for her. What about the Tanganyika tank? Well, technically these guys are small enough for her to get along with, but she's probably going to snack on a few. Plus, there's not a lot of room on the floor in here either. What about the Waru tank? Same story. These guys are really small and there's not enough room on the bottom. Although she's not a big ray, technically she could get along in here. It's just she's gonna eat everything in there. What about up top? Our beloved Frank. By the way, this is just random wood tossed in there. This isn't finished. But I gotta show you it because we gotta talk about this tank. You see, Frank will definitely kill her. The angelfish tank? Actually, this isn't a bad idea. She'd look amazing in here, especially with these platinum angels. But the downside is, again, there's not a ton of room in the tank. What about the discus? Well, the discus tank is the most practical decision and has the most room in it. But there's a bunch of tiny little fish in here now that you guys don't know about that she'll eat. You see, freshwater rays are an ambush predator per se, more of an opportunistic fish that scours the bottom of river systems, going through the sand looking for little morsels of food, eating worms, snails, you name it. They'll even jump on small fish and munch on those as well. You can't blame them. They basically will eat anything that will fit in their mouth, even the little guys. Now, I've had freshwater stingrays in with tiny little fish before thinking it could work, and I ended up with none of them within a week. The ray looked nice and fat, but I was out about 40 cardinal tetras. This was years ago though. So that leaves us with the 375-gallon rainbow fish tank, but we have another problem in here. In fact, two problems. One, there wasn't enough room in the tank for the ray to kind of comfortably swim around. Basically, she would have only had the front portion of it, which is almost as big as the tank she's in now, but you guys know we've got to have a little bit more room for them, let them explore the tank and enjoy themselves. With that said though, I was using ADA aqua soil and it was in the back. If she dug through that, this thing would have looked like chocolate milk continuously. Plus the fact that aqua soils like that continuously release ammonia for a short period of time, and the organic content in the tank is going to be quite high, which is great for plants, bad for fish like stingrays. I mean, the rainbow fish, they're pretty hardy, but when it comes to rays, things like that would easily kill her. So we had to come up with a plan. I thought, well, I don't like the tank the way it is anyway. It was my first scape, my first attempt at setting it up. I just went with it type of thing. It's one thing to spend a ton of time on one tank, scaping it, tweaking it, that sort of thing, but I got hundreds and hundreds of gallons of tanks to do. I can't focus too long on one. Of course, we could circle back and make them pretty, but I kind of just set it up and went with it. With that said, I wanted to change it right from the beginning. I thought, what if I just took all of the wood, kind of placed it more towards the middle, creating almost like an island effect, covered in moss. I think that would look pretty good. With that said, one most practical thing for me to do was to remove all of the aqua soil and all of that Valisaria that was in the back of it. You guys will remember that we kind of planted in there, and I wanted the wood to look like it was coming out of the plants there, and it looked really good. We can't deny that. Could have given the val a little bit more time to grow in, but bottom line is, I thought, let me make a change. Let's grow the Ray out in here. Let's enjoy her out in the gallery, and when she moves, we'll circle back and attack this tank head on, and we'll make some incredible changes to it. That all sounds really simple and easy to do, but if you've ever tried to take out, I think I had about 30 pounds of aqua soil in the tank. If you've ever tried to do that, it's an absolute disaster. Here's what I did. But once I took out all the rocks, I started scooping out all of the soil. And in the meantime, I started doing a big water change. I was going to drain the tank to have only a few inches of water in it so that when we fill it back up, it's nice and clean. So as I'm starting to remove all of the soil from the tank, it's creating an absolute mess. Nothing I could do about it, decided to keep going with it. I got all of it out, filled the tank back up, and it was really late. I went to bed, fish were fine, everything looked good. It was very cloudy, but it's gonna get by. I woke up the next morning, and the entire tank was coated in this fine brown dust everywhere. The entire bottom of the sand, all of the plants, all of the wood in this dust from that aqua soil. It looked absolutely horrible, but unfortunately I've been traveling a little bit lately and haven't had a tremendous amount of time to kind of focus on this and clean it up. But I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean up the sand. I'm going to make sure all of the moss is cleaned up, get this tank looking really presentable, and then we'll add in the Ray probably in a few days or so. What if she eats one of these rainbows? Well, the rainbows don't spend a lot of time near the bottom of the tank. They are an open water swimmer. They spend their time from the top up. And having the Ray in there is going to be fine. She's actually too small to eat these guys. And if she does, well, there's about 230 of them. We can spare a couple. It is unlikely that she'll eat any though, because they are pretty quick. However, one thing that I do want to note is that as soon as I adjusted all of the wood, got it into place again, I noticed a big change in the fish. Before, they would spend all their time at the front of the tank because that's where I was feeding, and I kind of said I wanted them to be out in the open as well. Well, that was a big mistake because now they just stay there, and the rest of the tank, the other 90% of it, is empty and void of fish. So over the past few days, I've been feeding in the center, wanting them to come eat here, which is great because now they are swimming in and around the wood constantly, and it looks absolutely amazing. So yeah, I think the tank looks pretty great as is. I will admit that I'm pretty excited to move her in here and have her out here with me all of the time. Grow her out, get her ready for the 2000. And I know many people are actually asking me questions. Are there any more fish going in the 2000? Absolutely. Everything out here is not going to happen in one day or 1 week. This is going to take months to complete and get the tanks perfect to where I want to be. If you can only imagine setting up, say, a 100-gallon aquarium, you know how long that can potentially take, and I'm setting up 4,000 gallons alone. So give me time. We're going to make this place pretty awesome. And if you enjoy these types of videos, and you want to see more on my aquarium gallery, you're not subscribed to my channel yet, make sure you do so you don't miss any of them. Also, if you could do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up. I'd love to see how many people are sticking around to the ends of my videos and are my biggest supporters. I certainly appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the comment section.